Happy Friday and welcome to Spicer & Company. I'm Sean Spicer.
And I'm Lindsay Keith. Well, yesterday we talked in detail about the shakeup in the Trump campaign and how that might increase the president's chance of victory in November. But Sean, it's a change that actually could have a ripple effect on local state campaigns as well.
Yeah, that's right, especially in places like Colorado, where the president came within 5 points of taking the state, and it's where we're going to continue our Battleground 2020 series today. The state has voted Democrat in the past 3 presidential elections, and one crazy little fact for you guys looking for something for the weekend, it saw one of its 2 electors, national electors, one of its electors rather, vote for Bernie Sanders in 2016. That vote was disallowed and the elector was replaced, so if you need something to use this weekend, you got that going. So how do things stand, though? Well, according to the Public Policy Poll, which is admittedly a Democratic firm, but it's the most recent poll, it shows President Trump trailing Joe Biden by double digits, 39 to 56. But that poll was taken before this recent shakeup where Bill Stepien was put in as campaign manager. And the question kind of remains is, could that shakeup and that switch help President Trump in a place like Colorado? Well, joining us now is the chairman of Colorado's Republican Party, Congressman Ken Buck. Congressman, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Look, Bill Stepien's got a history of running statewide races for the Republican Governors Association. Do you think that switch up is going to help make Colorado a much more competitive state at the presidential election level?
Well, I think Colorado is a much more competitive state than any of the numbers show at this point. We have 2 million voter contacts in the last 6 months, and I think that when you look at Colorado, John McCain lost Colorado by almost 9 points, Mitt Romney by over 6 points, and Donald Trump by just between 4 and 5 points. So it is trending our direction, and I think this state is going to be very competitive. And I do think that the shakeup is going to be helpful, and I think that we will be very focused with the Gardner campaign and the Trump campaign working very closely together.
You brought up Gardner, Senator Cory Gardner. He's up for his first reelection, facing off against your former governor, John Hickenlooper. That race is not as wide, according to the public polls, as the presidential race. But right now, they've got a 10-point spread favoring former Governor Hickenlooper. First question I have to ask you is that does Senator Gardner have to run ahead of the president to win Colorado, or is it that they're tied together?
Well, I don't think they're tied together. I think Senator Gardner, born and raised in Colorado, people in Colorado know him well, and I think he will do very well in Colorado because of who he is and what he's accomplished. In 5.5 years, he has passed 12 major pieces of legislation and is really considered a superstar in this state. And any poll that shows that there is more than a 1 or 2 point difference either way in that race is just not an accurate poll. These are 2 people who are well known in the state, who are running hard, and this is going to be a very close race in Colorado.
Congressman, Gabby Giffords' PAC, it's called Gifford PAC, is an anti-gun PAC, and they announced today that they're spending upwards of $1 million+ in Colorado. The thing that's interesting to me is I've been to Colorado a few times, but I always get the sense that people in Colorado are not, appreciate and are sportsmen and probably don't have an anti-gun feeling the way they would in, say, a more urban state. Is that a correct read by my part? Because I don't know why they would go in and spend this much money in a state that seemingly probably has a lot more avid hunters and sportsmen.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Sean. I think if you look at the Denver metro area, there is probably a fairly even split among people in that area concerning gun control. But the rest of the state is very pro-responsible gun ownership and use. And I think that when we hear that Bloomberg is coming in, or Gabby Gifford is coming in, or somebody else is coming in, it just shows people in Colorado that the outside money is trying to influence the race between 2 people who are already well known in Colorado, and I think that it causes more of a backlash than any kind of positive effect.
Let me ask you. Last week we had this newcomer to politics, Lauren Boebert. She was on the show. What do you think are her chances in November? And is this still a safe seat? I know she unseated an incumbent colleague of yours.
Yeah, I think Lauren Boebert is an exciting young lady who is a small business owner. She is very much in tune with her district, and I think she will do very well. Her fundraising is picking up tremendously. She has a huge following on Twitter and Facebook. She's really just that kind of voice that we need in the Republican Party, in Washington, D.C. And I am sure that the people in the 3rd Congressional District are going to send her back to D.C. And if there's anybody that can drain the swamp, it's Lauren Boebert. She is
She's impressive.
She's what?
She's impressive.
She is very impressive. Very impressive.
Congressman, there was a story out today. The president's pick for the Bureau of Land Management, which I'm sure is a big deal in Colorado and a lot of Western states. His name is William Perry Pendley. The story in Politico seemed to make it think that it was going to be a negative thing for a lot of Western politicians up for re-election, including Cory Gardner. Is that an accurate read on this, or is that? I mean, I just can't imagine any nominee having that big of an effect on somebody's election, pro or con.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think it's, Perry Pendley is somebody who has a lot of background in natural resource work in Colorado and in the West, goes back to the Reagan administration with his work. I think he is really a knowledgeable person that will lend a steady hand to BLM in the United States.
Congressman, I want to switch gears with you real quick. You co-signed a letter to the president of the United States asking for a ban on TikTok, if I've got my facts right. If that's true, which I think it is, I appreciate that, because I don't think people fully appreciate the national security threat that Huawei, this 5G company that China has, and TikTok have, and how much personal information an app like TikTok is picking up from our children, our friends, our kids, and all sorts of Americans.
Yeah, so I did sign a letter. I led the letter on that. I am a co-sponsor of the bill, co-prime sponsor of the bill in the House. There's a House Democrat, House Republican, Senate Democrat, Senate Republican. It's a very bipartisan measure to remove TikTok or prohibit TikTok from any government-issued phones. And the letter to the president goes further and asks if we can just stop Chinese spying on those that are putting on this app. And it's a dangerous app. And I think that Americans are unaware of the strategy that the Chinese are employing. Clearly, our adversaries in China and Russia, part of their strategy, if there is a conflict, is to shut down the U.S. economy. And they're using these apps to gain information on people to be able to do that.
Listen, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your leadership on this, because you're absolutely right. Most people don't have any idea how much information they are taking from every user out there and compiling it on them. And it's a massive national security issue for our entire country. So I appreciate you being here. Thanks for your service to the Congress. Thanks for what you're doing in Colorado. And thanks for your leadership on this issue.
Thank you. It's good to be with you.
All right. Have a great weekend. All right, we're going to have more on Trump's 2020 campaign strategy when we return. And then commentator Bill Whittle is going to join us to talk about liberals politicizing school shutdowns. We're also going to see how a major Jewish organization is taking the New York Times to task for allegation of anti-Semitism. And later, it's Friday, which means it's time for the company quiz. Lindsay's been on a little bit of a roll. Let's see if they can beat her. And we got Mark Halperin and Joe Conason here to give it their best. We'll be right back.